Here is the next year, 2025. Yes, this is when you have already discovered that some parts of you have fallen away. In the year 2024, parts of us fell away. And what was our reaction? Horror, horror, catastrophe, come back, I will forgive everything. We were running after people there, clarifying some relationships, trying to glue something together. Did you succeed? It falls apart, and that's it. Something that shouldn't have happened, precisely during this year of 2024. Partnership relationships. Just some relationships, friends turned upside down in a completely incomprehensible way. They say that 2024 was karmic, and at the same time, it was financial for people, meaning one could find new opportunities to work and earn. Unexpected opportunities arise when something unnecessary falls away and a new opportunity appears. So, if a person did not succumb to provocations and did not fall into emotions, they would cling to this new opportunity and say, okay, I will now do better. And if, for example, these troubles we are currently facing, the year 2024, continues, yes, if it revealed to you that, okay, here is your weak spot, go and work on it, strengthen yourself, solve the problem. Yes, don't jump or run away from yourself saying, I'm so unhappy, I was hurt, and why am I like this? No, okay, good. 2024 highlighted it for you. Doing something there, being trusting at 8, well, wonderful. Take control into your own hands. If you were somewhat inactive, then put your feet to work and go. If you were cowardly, for example, and did not take advantage of some chances, so what needs to be done? Right at the end of this year, November, December, it will definitely show work on mistakes. Allow me to report, I understood everything, that's it, I am already doing it right, all. And you jump into your financial corridor too. Years ahead, that is. This year has shown us all to think about what each of us should do, and we just need to start doing it, overcoming some internal old mistakes. This year has cleansed us from unnecessary attachments, from certain emotions. Yes, when we dragged some people along for years, decades, some faith, hope, love, yes, illusions have fallen away for many, and now these illusions continue to fall away. What we see in people is that they say, no, 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 we want our illusions to remain. This is the most incorrect tactic right now to live through the last 2 months of this year. There is some destruction of illusions, you say. Great, super. Thank you so much, 2024, for showing me that yes, I knew, but I didn't do it. Now take it and do it, that's all. And that's why these new opportunities that have crystallized for each person, someone went into IT, someone started drawing, someone realized for themselves that they are a project manager, someone understood that they need to take responsibility, someone realized that they do not want to work in a team, or on the contrary, they want to work in a team, you understand? That is, those things that we understood, yes, thanks to the karma of 2024, we need to take them and say, okay, great, super. Thus, the crystallization of our energy occurs, on which we can grow further. Further, in the next year, we are good, we are not growing yet, we are still crystallizing further. And we are crystallizing even further. If you have already understood what your, let's say, weak point is, then we actively start strengthening, working on, and changing this weak point within ourselves. And then 2025 will be a year of abundance. You understand? That is, you have already laid out your own umbrella, turned on your own flashlight. You have your own little tent, yes, and you are going, yes, the world is collapsing around you, but you already have this separation, because 2025 will ask us all, what are you like inside? You understand. And if you are still spread out on a plate in society, among people, what will people say? Old beliefs, the beliefs of your parents, your lineage, family, tribe, I don't know, nationality, religion. Yes, that is, you are still looking for support in them. They will continue to fall apart. You understand? That is, this is also the process of this release, this individualization, crystallization, understanding what you are like. And why are we running away from looking inside ourselves? The year 2025 will be difficult for many because you are kind of left alone with yourself. Because when you are left alone with yourself, you need, roughly speaking, to get acquainted with your own shortcomings or weaknesses, or things you have hidden from yourself for a long time, repressed things. And here it turns out that I am all about everything, and there will be no one to rely on, and we will want to be among people. We will make decisions like these people ran to buy stocks, and then everything collapsed together. So here's the thing, in 2025, try not to listen to any trends regarding buying and selling stocks and so on. That is, money, savings and investments will be extracted from people thanks to this crowd. So it turns out that you have activated your mind and are observing, okay, everyone is buying, so I need to buy. And I really think that I need to buy. And I need to take these risks. And I need to risk everything I have. And here is my intuition, my own karma, my money, how I feel about it. They are guiding me. So maybe this is really not the year to engage in risky investments. So, if you were already losing on risks in 2024, then in 2025 you will definitely continue to lose on risks. So it turns out that 2024 is showing us the trend where we will be turned and turned away. For example, if you were trusting in something, didn't do something yourself, delegated and had mistakes, it means that if you continue doing the same, you will have even more mistakes. So, you take it upon yourself to study. Why? Therefore, we will need to learn a lot and understand a lot. Even if you have never understood anything about financial markets, you will start to understand them. If you didn't understand anything about management, you start to figure it out. If you don't understand anything about psychology, you start to understand it. That is, 2025 will require people to intellectually comprehend what is happening, not just act on emotions and say, we are lucky, we are fortunate, and so on. Look, next year, I don't know if it will be good or bad. Half of you will say it's good, half bad. It's still the year of the snake, a year of wisdom. Wisdom is like warming in the sun when it's cold. The smart one won't climb the mountain but will go around it. Here, we will really need to find ourselves a warm place in the sun because, as I said earlier, there are countries where it will be really dangerous and people will start to crawl away from there. Therefore, we will see migration around the world from certain regions as people start to look for that warm place and warm sunshine. If you are all conservative, if you are all tied up with connections and friends saying, I am here, I am this way, but you need to move where it will be easier. You need to gather your family and relocate. How will you move? You will be mentally fighting with the government, with the truth, with justice, wanting to prove your point of view that the world is arranged incorrectly. Because of this, you will have even more troubles. That is, once we activate flexibility, why? Because Pluto in Aquarius is starting, Aquarius has begun to work. And what is Aquarius? That is, you must not only be self-aware, knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and being able to look at them honestly and say, okay, I will learn this now. I admit that here I am a coward, here I am weak, here I am trusting, here I am aggressive. I start to change myself, and then the year 2025 will be super successful. That is, a person is moving towards their abundance. Because we will have abundance, not a general one, like everyone receiving this sower, giver from above, streams of abundance. No, it turns out that in 2025 we will see that some will shoot up very strongly, but there won't be many of them, because most will be losing, as they followed the herd somewhere. They went after some emotion. So it turns out that, look, the year 2024 taught us about our weak points. It has already filtered out unnecessary people. It showed us our strengths and weaknesses through karma. We take them, say, okay, that's it. I will do this now. I will learn here. I will find out here, and that's it. And in 2025, just take it and do it. Because in 2024, it was already good to act. Like, that is, even if you made mistakes, you were doing and you achieved a lot. So you tell me, how was it for you in 2024, right? Even if you take this creativity and do it, there are no mistakes. But the fact that you take and do, you continue to move. The same goes for this entire trend of continuing your own individual movement or your company, right? That is, you continue to do, and you know how, look, before we were shy about our shortcomings, and now there is this coming out. Yes, okay, I didn't succeed in this before. I didn't know this. I thought I could delegate this to others or that I wouldn't cope with it, and well, now I can do this too. Now we will see those who succeed have recognition and awareness of their weaknesses. And precisely because it's not about pretending or artificial shyness or blaming others, these strategies don't work anymore. You take and become the best version of yourself, and you don't look around and joke that you don't rely on others to come and help you. You start doing it yourself, because then in 2026, where you go, it's all a start. You know, it's like this cycle of energy, right? Something shows us to cleanse, then we do the work on our mistakes. We gather inside, crystallize, the old dies off, and then the new begins. If you insist on your version of events, yes, they poke at you. And you say, no, I'm good, they are bad, yes. That is, you do not see the matters that deprive you of abundance in relationships, money, and health. As long as you lead in this way, these matters will become denser, and the year 2025 will be painful in a physical sense for many. But you know, in fact, a person is emotional, who does not want to acknowledge their weak side, to make both the weak side and the strong side. The main story is that our astral body and our emotional plane, our unconscious, we are like addicts. We derive pleasure from suffering. And it is precisely from this pleasure in suffering that a sequence of bad events in a person's life will continue to unfold. That is, you understand, if you have started to derive pleasure from suffering, it means that things will not go well for you, and this problem will only increase. And how can you understand that you are deriving pleasure from suffering? It's very simple. If for several days or months, for example, you feel sorry for yourself, or you are upset that someone has left you, you scold yourself for being somehow not right. That is, you get stuck on something, or you become aggressive towards yourself or others. Well, in short, each of us has some favorite matter like this, and we have regularly nurtured it throughout our lives. Now, under the influence of 2024, it has surfaced at least several times, so we can get fixated on it and say, okay, I am like this, and continue to derive pleasure from it, while also attracting even more problems, troubles, and challenges. In the end, this matter will either make us poor, or make us sick, or make us unhappy, or attract bad people into our lives, who will make all the decisions for us. That is, if you are weak, someone will come who is strong and will make decisions for you. Okay, guys, this is a question about inner growth. There is no story that vibrations have risen and everyone has died. No. The world is becoming smarter. We are entering a new era, the age of Aquarius. This is the era of individuality, independence, manifestation. What? Individuality, catastrophe, independence, oh, responsibility. How is that? And where is the crowd? Where am I at all? Therefore, our, so to speak, unpreparedness for this. And the main story is about the transition. It's not that there will be some scary demons running after us saying you are bad. No. It's the own matter of emotions, that beloved feeling inside you. It will continue to hold you, and you will say, okay, everything is fine with me, but everything is wrong with them. There are many ways of repression, so troubles will continue. In 2025, it will start to destroy some things and tell you, well, when will you finally take responsibility for yourself? When will you finally understand? Come on, just do it. In any case, in 2025, you will need to stop being emotional. Consequently, for greater enhancement of our inner introspection, karma always helps us externally. That is, something happens that makes you start to think about what is wrong with you. Therefore, we get inflation, currency crises, financial crises, various ailments. We won't discuss how, but in general, you understand. So, the conflicts between countries, wars, revolutions, and so on, up to changes of governments, that is, this whole, so to speak, internal situation of imbalance, will continue to prevent you from having some kind of foundation wherever you are, wherever you live. But maybe in Brazil it will be more or less okay. Hello, Brazilians. And here, children will be lifting you up and pulling at you, and you are who? Even in Indonesia, as I mentioned, processes of population cleansing are beginning, and they are starting to expel excess citizens from Bali. That is, if in 2025 there starts to be a mass exodus of our wonderful compatriots from Indonesia who have bought a lot of things there, then Indonesians will be cleansing their ranks of, well, so to speak, the wrong people, unnecessary people. I think if you have any small mistake in front of the government, like you violated something, parked your bicycle in the wrong place, that's it. You will have a chance to be expelled from the beautiful island. Why am I talking about this? Because the energies of 2025 will force us to return perhaps to our roots. That is, many will be returning to their countries. Countries will try to find a warmer place, return their identity everywhere. There will be outbreaks of nationalism. And this is again the reason for this division, that you are like this internal introspection, we are like this. India will be closing off well. So, this natural process of population flow, plus when the snakes are lower, such lower migrations to the pike where it's warmer, we ran away. Therefore, one must be really prepared for such trials. And if, for example, there is a world beneath you that starts to move like this, so to speak, and you are all stable, habitual, conservative, and not easy, what do you do with yourself? Only then you go under the roots. Or there is some kind of foundation of support. This foundation of support is being destroyed. You know, this inner balance, everyone must understand for themselves who they are, when they are, how they will live, so to speak, in the age of Aquarius. And you know what is most interesting? My discovery right now. We are experiencing a very strong destruction with our lineage. Here, that is, in the age of Aquarius, ancestral channels will not have the same significance for us. When we live far away, as they did when we lived in this era, because the lineage, with all its merits, has a very large, negative, heavy energetic potential. And people who have long gone through reincarnation or died, if we drag their beliefs, their matter, their views, their conservativeness, heaviness, lack of joy, lack of creativity, and dependence into the new world as it was, we will actually receive this encapsulation and densification of energy, and we will lose both relatives and remain somewhat in solitude. Well, I didn't want to bring up this topic, but okay, since we started talking about it, let's have a deep conversation today. Seriously, you may lose many of your relatives in the coming year. It is precisely because of this. You will be, so to speak, released. Go further. Go, grow and develop. I fully manifest my creativity. I will be as my ancestors and great-grandfathers did. And because of this, to free and cleanse you, we will lose our loved ones. That is, to sit with those people who are not ready to think independently is sometimes easier to say, okay, I respect you. As it is written in the Bible, you love your parents, you respect them, but you also give them the opportunity to be as they are. Meanwhile, you turn on your cosmic radar, the Wi-Fi of your Uranus, which exists in each of us, asking yourself, who am I, and how can I manifest my individuality anew? You start moving, and perhaps your free movement forward will relieve the necessary burden of dying from your loved ones, and they will live peacefully and grow tomatoes in the garden. Do you understand? That is, this break from the old, we are currently, I wouldn't want to talk about it, but we can already see it. That is, elderly relatives have started to pass away. There has been a sudden deterioration in the health of elderly people. And this is about that. Do you understand? Save, love, but think about what you must continue your movement, and then they will simply live and grow tomatoes.
And if you are the elderly person, what should you do?
If you are an elderly person, then you especially need to activate your unexpressed creative potential. Start reading books, start drawing, macrame, a photography club, a desire to dance, socializing with people. The creative energy that you haven't used your whole life, you take and start doing it. That's it. And you live, and you live, and you live endlessly in this age of Aquarius. We will have the opportunity to live as long as we live, as long as we create. That is this fixedness. Yes, no problem. You can come up with something for yourself, like an old buried creative potential. For example, you were an accountant your whole life, but you always wanted to sing. You start studying singing, become an opera singer, create your Instagram and sing. That's it. Your life has extended. You realize what you always wanted or couldn't do. Or my mom back in the day bought a book on the history of art that she never read. Now at almost 80, I will start reading it to her. Great, let's start. Or she could become an art historian. It will have meaning. Let's go to the Louvre, you understand. Because in the history of world art, it's written to understand. This is a story about discovering new horizons and finding yourself. I'm warning you a bit in advance because this era of new abundance will begin around the 18th to 19th of November. In other words, we will be moving forward by unpacking our creative energies within ourselves. And what will the contradiction be? Especially, just imagine, yes, you are a creative person. You say, I am an artist. This is how I see it. Or you simply express yourself, and next to you are people asking, what are you doing? And we are not like that. That's it. Do you understand? This will be difficult, because those who look at you and judge you will also have to go through this adaptive mechanism within themselves. So, breaking through will be done through aggression, through losses, you understand, through judgment and everything else. Why do we currently have this general trend towards tolerance? I'm not talking about tolerance in the sense that we must accept everyone as they are. Just, the energy of Aquarius is about accepting another person as they are, as a kind of manifested creative divine force that flows through them. Okay, you are like this, I am like that, not to reproach, scold, or punish anyone. Well, as always, all these universal energies that affect humanity first come in some distorted forms like the propaganda of LGBT or something else. So, as always, we immediately misunderstand everything, and then it gradually reaches us. This is the story about mutual respect for one another. Further down the line, I want to cheer you up. We will be a unity of individualities. Do you understand? That's it. And precisely our evolutionary, if you currently feel like an individuality and treat another person as an individuality, everything will be just great for you. You are already Aquarian, you are already right, you will have a regime of maximum favorability. So, to transition into this new era, in order to prevent something from tearing pieces away from you, to avoid losses in abundance of relationships or money by the year 2025, our main task is to deal with old dense matters, beliefs, or those things that hold us back. That's with us. Living through the previous 2,000 years, it is necessary to comprehend all that has been accumulated over these 2 millennia. And here, we need to approach it differently. Welcome to the bright future. So when we now, if a person mostly, in your channel, you on our channel, are self-aware, observing yourself, and if during the year 2024 you have already seen that everything was spinning and some episode of your energy in your psyche, your thoughts, some pattern of behavior was illuminated, that is, something that might have repeated before, you could have ignored it, but this year you have already seen it, and that's it, and load it. Okay, I got it. I'm going. I will do everything. I am not avoiding. The point is not in avoidance, but in acceptance, recognition, and doing as your soul and God guide you from above. And you start to take this and do everything, okay? That is, we correct our mistakes. Okay, then there will be no losses in 2025. Therefore, it will be a very cool year that will provide opportunities for maybe 10% of the population on Earth to really excel. To adapt in time, despite all these general entanglements and fluctuations. Some will break away from these common streams of karma. You see, in general, it doesn't matter. Aquarius is still about individuality, not about the common herd. That is, you can be a patriot, but that is your creative energy. But you are not, like, you are not in the crowd. This is a very important question, because for us, for many, this understanding is still completely wild. We are too identified with what others think and say about us, with our family, lineage, friends, and surroundings. That's it. We are identified with them.
And about how to avoid mistakes, many broadcasts, posts. Subscribe to the Telegram channel of Nadezhda, because everything that will happen next, Nadezhda warns in advance and says where a person can make a mistake. There are also important dates and months when one needs to be attentive. And I have a question. Is the world moving towards being completely light? Or are dark forces also evolving to survive, becoming more sophisticated?
Dark forces are becoming smarter. So everything is becoming smarter. Everything is becoming more creative, so to speak, with new unexpected possibilities. Very, very simple. Let's say in the 1990s, people were tormented by certain thoughts, feelings, emotions, and doubts. In the year 2000s, it was different, in the 2010s. And now here we can, having watched, yes, or recalling this, let's say, exciting spectrum of experiences, I understand that on average we have all become more emotionally, let's say, yes, intelligent over the years. That is, most people. That is, some things that interested us, for example, were somewhat more down to earth. Too connected with sexuality. Pride, some envy, some comparison. That is, these emotions, or even this characteristic trait of the human psyche is called hatred, in order to prove that you have the right. That is, such base instincts. Yes, of course. They exist, they have persisted, but now more people are concerned about what? Social status, to make an impression, to take your place in society, to prove your right to live, to defend, to manipulate, and so on. So it turns out that the average energy burdens that now torment most of humanity have become higher and smarter. The next level we will achieve together. Those who will win on the dark side will be the people who think purposefully, creatively. Even so, yes, without any personal attachment, without personal ambitions, perhaps even without personal pride, but driven by certain goals. Yes, that is, some creative realization. It may sound difficult right now. Let's try to figure it out. So, what is the main preamble of black magic that we are currently observing?
Yes.
In fact, a person tries to use dark forces to earn money, gain some power, and maintain control over people who are already like his followers, his flock or his clients, and so on. So the story goes through control. And what is happening now? People are dropping out. People are fleeing. Do you understand? So there's that too. How is it that way? It used to work. I could, like the woman who called recently. Her teacher is threatening her. If you don't pay me money right now, then the programs I set up for you will stop working and everything will die. He says that he doesn't want to continue these programs on these devices anymore because he no longer believes in it. So it turns out that before, this degree of manipulation worked, you understand, and the person was afraid. And now he says, well, listen, something is probably off about this. Maybe you're not telling the truth, right? So I'll go and try to figure out for myself what is actually on these discs and what programs I have set up. Maybe I'll build a program for myself. You see, the point is that a large number of magicians and those who work with dark forces in the old way have to adapt or change their own internal basic characteristics like pride, control, aggression, and so on. For example, if before a person working with dark forces could have a good connection with certain forces related to aggression, thinking they were the best and could do anything, now everyone has gone, and they face huge obstacles. Wait, you are already encroaching on someone else's territory, where respect for others' individuality exists. What individuality? There is only me, not you. So it turns out that people are really experiencing huge shock and horror because even dark forces are evolving and they are becoming. Let's say that there is a desire to promote these dark forces even more according to certain concepts, meaning adherence to hierarchy and respect for some boundaries. The majority of the energy that used to go into pride, envy, aggression, and just showing off is now not in the best times. So there is a kind of pressure going on, to put it bluntly. Well, maybe you will still become part of the unity somehow, or you will still be the most special, the most unique. Do you understand? Okay, fine. I don't know if we will keep this part, but it is really very important. And it turns out that yes, dark forces are also becoming smarter. That is, again, among the dark, there is no history of agreement. I am always me, and I am good, and I am special, and you are bad. But here, you understand that dark forces are becoming so intelligent that at certain levels they are already making agreements, which is generally not characteristic of dark magic. Right now, having some conversations and divisions here, and you are this and I am that, and we are okay. That is, how about my and only me you understand? The essence of the difference between black magic and white magic is fundamental. In black magic, a person is always selfish. They do things for themselves as they need to. They rely on their own strength, need to protect their territory, and even kill their teacher, or surpass their teacher to take someone else's place. And now, evolutionarily, these energies also know how to say, no, okay, you are like this, but this is your horizon, these are your boundaries, and you are next to another one. And he also has his own individuality. He is also needed by the universe for certain purposes, you understand. So this will be a very complex mechanism for awareness. We will see how black magic changes. So, look at how they will also have their own significant evolutionary leap. The light forces, the feature of light magic, is that a person acts not for themselves, but for others. That is, these are two completely opposite views on things. Selfish, where it's all about me, and more, and only I am special, I am the king of the mountain, or I am for others, I strive for others to be well, and then I feel good. You understand? And this, let's say, yes.
Tolerance, the mixing of these things, will lead to the development of new directions. This is the perspective for the next few years. Returning to the problems. Yes, we understood that there may be difficulties with finances if we don't enter the right flows. By the way, yes, then we will return to how to enter those flows correctly. Problems with health, and what about relationships? What areas could this affect? Where might it arise? Or is it only within me? Or does it also concern everything?
Our karma is built through relationships. That is, through the relationships that are attracted to you by karma. It doesn't matter, partner, friendly, loving, family, children, friends, business partners. That is, they all show you their certain weakness. By trying to cope with this weakness, you please them. You earn. Aggressive check control, that is your own way to solve some of your weaknesses precisely in relationships. Therefore, if you look at what some matter, or problem, that we have it all the time, calls to us a certain stereotype in these relationships, and now, for 24 years, we have already seen everything with you. That is the upheavals of huts, how a person turns over, or you see a person from a new, unexpected angle, which perhaps we most often do when building relationships. We build relationships not with the real person, but with some projection of them, with an image that corresponds to us, and we overlook certain things. If a person's true side comes out, we throw slippers at them and say, change. We either manipulate, bribe, or control, or do something else to ensure that we see that side of them. Why do we do this? Because inside ourselves, we have some matter, some problem, and we see in the person what we don't want to see as the truth. We see a solution to this problem in some way. Therefore, the main request we have to psychologists, psychics, or fortune tellers is, change him for me, or change her for me. There is something that satisfies you, but there is always something in the person that does not. And so it turns out that in 1924 we saw in a person what does not satisfy us creates our internal conflict, our inner experience, our inner response. I want him to be different. No, you change within yourself, and he will turn to you with a different side. That's the trick at the end of 1924. And 1925. You don't need to tell him to change. You don't need to tell her she's wrong and should be different. If you feel irritation about something, that he is this way or she is that way, it means you are not trying to explain to him to change his behavior. Instead, you turn inward and ask yourself, why do I feel pain inside? Why do I feel discomfort, insecurity, fear, or resentment? Some part of me hurts. If I kick this person out of my life or just break up, the next one will come and press on that specific point. Do you understand? So these years of training, when we see what our problem of scarcity in relationships is, it's very good that during 2024 we have already seen what this pain is. How we usually worked in the old way, we have ways of manipulation. With a person, there are ways to throw slippers at them, ways to persuade and manipulate and so on, even with children, in any way to extract what we need to avoid this pain. If some of us have already reached the extreme point where a person simply turns away from you and leaves, you are left alone with this pain. And then your only option is to look for the next one who will be just as much a patch and will be even worse, repeating the cycle with loss of money and loss of health. So, we still have these few years because they will continue to extract those matters from us that do not correspond, so to speak, to our program, to us in the future. Because ideally, the age of Aquarius has already begun for us. Right now, these cleansing procedures are taking place, these transitional periods. And in order to prepare, people who live in the heart chakra, self-aware, with the mind in love, love in the mind, the ability to give, share, creatively express themselves, valuing others for their worth, love your neighbor as yourself. In order for you to succeed, you will still have to get rid of those things inside you, your accumulated matters, from which you carefully run away. Do you understand what the catch is? So you can still live your usual life, deal with household matters, go to work, and so on. Inside, all of this will be maturing, or it will continue to attract problems in relationships, yes, or losses of people, losses of money, or health. That's it. So right now, this is a very simple thing. Again, all these patterns that hold us back, which, let's say it forces us to change people, but not ourselves. They still have roots in our previous lives, ancestral systems, and receive even more fixation and reinforcement. I should be like this. I can allow myself to be like this because my ancestors did it all. And then you find yourself in this trap because it seems you can't just dismiss all your previous experiences, thousands of years of your ancestral systems. You have a stable experience from your previous lives, and then with all this power you tell them, change. You are bad. Do you understand? This is what many people are doing right now.
About these patterns, how not to fall into the trap. I know that you have a new flow starting. A group is gathering on all the topics we discussed today, on finances, on relationships. We will go into more detail. I will ask you more about what will be at the end of the video. But for now, I have a question regarding the scenario. Suppose I don't see what is happening to me at 25, 26, 27, and I see how big the difference is.
If you don't see, then you are going in the flow of karma. We go this way until we start to manage something, until we have a vision for our life, our destiny. Then we are very much dependent on those things that affect us like matter, pushing us like a ram and dragging us to where it will be very bad for us, or we will lose something, or eventually we will gain insight, become smarter, or change some quality in ourselves. This is what internal vision and understanding of one's life is. And this is exactly what the Academy Umla primarily provides. You start to understand who you are, what your future life is like, where you are going, what strengths you need to reveal, where to place the salt shaker so you don't lose it, and so on. In other words, you can take some actions in advance. In other words, this vision is like the soul, like the higher self. You have the right to such vision because we all have some intuition. And when we live as individuals, we make mistakes because all these patterns live within us, as we call them, the matter of previous beliefs. All the experiences accumulated from past lives and our ancestors. They make us behave seemingly correctly. From the mind's perspective, you act correctly, but from the soul's perspective, you make some mistakes. And matter constantly pushes us to become wiser. So, in reality, karma is not our enemy. Karma is our helper. It gives us hints, helps, pushes us, but we don't draw these conclusions. Do you understand? If we make these conclusions correctly, and even better, in advance, then we prevent the emergence of certain problems in the future. In other words, if you understand what you need, like if we are currently considering the process, yes, abundance. Abundance through relationships, manifested abundance to be precise, in relationships, in money. In other words, this inner desire to reach a certain level of your energetic state, when you are defined in your psyche, in your physicality, in your thoughts. Yes, everything aligns for you. Everything works out. What prevents you from becoming this? There are just a few, maybe 2 or 3. Some matters in your emotional body, in the astral body, in your unconscious, that stubbornly keep you at the previous level. The age of Aquarius itself, this time, this increase in vibrations, they want to extract this from you and free you from it. But you, being in these programs of previous ancestral setups, your thoughts, your personal mind, your identification with this body, do everything possible to not notice this. In other words, you find in yourself 1,000 justifications. You are your own best lawyer. Everyone around is to blame. And all of this is why karma is here. Karma then, if you do not manage the process, it manages you. It pushes you into a crisis situation of losing a person, losing money, losing abundance. And in this crisis situation, you must start to think, but we do not think. As always, the story continues that someone is to blame. They did something wrong. Someone shifted responsibility to others. Parents raised you incorrectly, and so on. Thus, the story repeats itself. And after some time, you find yourself in this crisis again, and you tell yourself, well, maybe you will go here, you will grow, you will change this. Yes, once this conclusion or this matter or this behavior helped you greatly in life, for example, 1,000 years ago when you lived. And for you, for example, this quality of aggressiveness, audacity, self-defense or control helped you a lot. But right now it stops you, holds you back, and you have the right to change. And the question is not that we were born under some wrong stars or that we had the wrong parents. Only those programs that worked for us in the previous era, in the previous energies, are now destructive for us. And we always have other good energies. At the very least, look, the age of Aquarius allows each person to manifest their destiny more quickly. And it is in the year 2025 that every person on earth, all 9 billion or those who remain, will feel, I want to do this. this inner pull towards destiny will emerge. Even if a person is uneducated, or not smart, or lacks certain qualities, they will suddenly have this desire to start expressing themselves in some way. This will truly be a unique year. And if a person has many established limitations and problems, and the problem is here, 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 and the person doesn't even have time to lift their head and take a breath, yes, when there is such heavy karma, because he has simply created these, let's say, all these obstacles for himself due to holding on to 2 to 3 of these previous old heavy low vibrational programs, so that's it. This is what I am proposing now. We take away these low aberrational programs. We create ourselves the right composition of matter, as you should be now, just like you, each individually. There are no general advice. Everyone has their own individual program of matter, composition of feelings, manifestations, energy of destiny, that's all. You begin to become this individuality with your manifested energies. You harness your strengths and possibilities and continue living, meaning you roughly remove problems from karma so that it doesn't need to spend energy on you, trap you, hit you on the head, or make you lose something to make you wiser. So, the essence of this reasonableness to awareness is that you know yourself, know your problems, know your shortcomings, know your possibilities, know your direction, and that's it. Well, for example, you need to set off on a journey. You should, for example, be traveling, and you have the option to put some unnecessary old shoes that you wore about 10 or 20 years ago into your backpack. Yes, they are dear to you as a memory. You can take them with you, but they will weigh you down. Because you must rely on the fact that you are truly being given resources and opportunities right now, and you are moving forward. Why do you even need these 20-year-old shoes? Because you definitely will never wear them. But you hold on to them because they helped you once, right? Or just in case, maybe they will come in handy. And so you walk with this burden. Similarly, we carry the burden of old programs on which we lived, our parents lived, and humanity has lived for 2,000 years. And here it turns out that, like the image of a traveler, you have a staff, the road ahead of you, and you walk light, ready to reach your destination. And at the same time you walk, and along the way you have food, drink, shelter, protection, and everything. This is some kind of internal manifested creative lightness and potential that will be drawn out of each of us. These are completely different vibrations for life, and we, as if we have dug in, set up a little fence, have a list of phone numbers just in case of nuclear war, and that's it. And you sit and think everything is fine, and all this is so, and the dirt disappeared in one day. What is happening? And you, what do you see? What are you like when all this is gone? That is the essence of the crystallization of what is happening now. This process is so slow, the increase in energy and transitions. I say, even the devils will become smarter now. And even the devils will also make their followers become smarter or kill them. Therefore, we are currently in the process of this so-called transition. But this is not 5D, not 3D, not 10D. If I explain a little more in detail, we lived for many years in the astral body of a person. Low energies dominated because we needed to live, survive, acquire good, protect ourselves, assert ourselves sexually, and destroy our enemies. So it turns out that these energies were not necessary for us, for social development, because firstly there was no technology. Science as such did not exist. All of this appeared, even modern psychology emerged only 100 years ago. So we are now flying in space, we have cars, we have phones. So we are now somewhat different, but the foundation in our matter and in the astral remains the same. And it is precisely from this contradiction that evolution is healing us now. We should already be moving forward upward, but this old reserve, like everything acquired through hard work. Video recorder 2, imported jacket 3. Here is a reserve of these old heavy matters of survival, not of life. We need to find and see them within ourselves and, if possible, transform them into something effective for moving forward. If not, rethink and move on without them. In this we have two ways. Either approach it consciously and change ourselves, like the higher self, like a king in our head, so to speak already, from the position of being the master of our life. Or allow it to just unfold like a mother, matter, karma, like devils, people, societies pulling all this out. It's all such an That's when catharsis happens, then we change. Let's do without catharsis, okay? Why catharsis? Why pain? Why tears? Why flesh? If it can be done in advance.
For those who do not want to be a target, for the karmic giver, it is better to resolve all these issues in advance.
We activate the superpower of vision, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and claircognizance in everyone. That is, you already, as the higher self, we provide the technologies. I personally conduct live broadcasts and lessons. I start to examine and study myself, what we are made of, why there are no relationships, or why relationships are not built properly, why there are financial difficulties or ceilings, why there are problems with the family or health issues. And all these matters a person begins to see, understand, and know within themselves. That is, they know their composition. Then we have technologies for replacement. Healing and correction. That is, you begin to treat yourself not as something that has randomly come together, but like a car. You are a boy, yes, you are in your car. Well, now let's check the oil, level, the coolant level, and inflate the tires. So, the tires have been changed, winter has begun. That is, you can treat yourself as a mechanism. You, as the owner, understand, can shape yourself correctly. If it's winter, you put on studded tires. And drive, you understand, why drive on bold tires in winter? You will cause yourself a lot of accidents, yes, if I express myself correctly.
It's much easier to understand this with a car than with oneself.
This is your life, this is your car. Okay, let's say some of us are unlucky. Yes, we got Zaporozhets. Neither Mercedes, nor Maybach, nor G-Class, nor Ferrari. Okay, fine, you take your Zaporozhets and start changing it. First, you change the body, the composition of matter, you understand. You change the feeling, thoughts, beliefs, those feelings, those matters. How you can gradually reprogram a person completely in 6 months. A Zaporozhets arrived, a Maybach drove out, you understand. And you drive on like a Maybach. But what's the catch? When you start changing yourself from the inside, as a person, you can't change. Because all you can do is see your feelings stuck on some experiences. Look at how others react. You need to get out of the car and see it from a height. What I'm driving, you understand. While you're inside, you're used to it. Everything seems normal. It shakes, and thank God. But when you step out, you start looking and think, okay, we're not falling. Everything's fine. Everything can be fixed. Everything can be replaced. And you start restructuring yourself. And after that, you gain real control over your life because you even know where you will go, how you will go, and at what speed. If you know you need to drive at high speeds, what will you do? You will install a tuned engine. And if you know that you have a rhythmic life ahead, then why bother with some tuned engine now? If your 2.4 liters handle that speed perfectly, you understand. So the question is in this understanding of yourself, your purpose, your tasks, and where karma will take you. This mechanism is fully provided by the online academy. So let's take it and restructure ourselves.
Follow the link below this video. Get acquainted with the program, which will be detailed there. Everything is written on the website. I have a question about the car and the road. Where are we going? What will happen to politics now, to the world? Where is it dangerous to be, and where is it safe?
Well, since we are talking today about how we, like snakes, will be looking for a warmer place next year, or probably, on the contrary, hiding somewhere in burrows, showing wisdom, we will all need a greater degree of adaptability and acceptance of the situation, because if you insist that the sun is scorching and you say, no, I'm not hot, it will just burn you. So this adaptability will be required from all of us, and yes, indeed, there will be a large migration of the population next year. First of all, why? Indonesia will be closing down for us. Some countries will be freeing themselves, or cleansing from the foreign, from the alien, from the unnecessary. That is, this is a continuation of the same energy of inner introversion, self-awareness. And when you have many newcomers, you can't understand who you are, you lose your roots. Just like Bali has already lost its roots. This is not the island it was 25 years ago, guys. I have lived for a long time and was in Bali while it was still Bali. Now it is no longer Bali. It is just some kind of, well, I don't know, a camping site, you understand, for newcomers. And the energy itself will try to emerge, to feel itself even without newcomers, but to preserve its own integrity and individuality. Therefore, this process is most likely inevitable for us. The same will happen in neighboring countries. Maybe it will be related to the economy, their politicians, some temporarily arrived authorities. And let's all right now only for our own. And all outsiders like go figure it out. There will be a reduction in social programs.
Philippines, Thailand, China, Malaysia, Vietnam.
Indonesia mainly, yes, and Thailand too, but to a lesser extent. The Philippines will need to focus on themselves at least, because they will be preparing for a big war with their northern, such as countries, plus again due to politics will face great pressure to be more crystallized in terms of population composition, again readiness for mobilizations and so on. So our previous open world is practically a thing of the past. Next we will have migrations of African citizens starting, and first of all divisions and conflicts within European countries, meaning European countries will conflict with each other over, again, resources, the ability to support people and the ability to pay refugees. There will be a very heavy burden on Germany. If I were to quote, Germany will really have to close down and really choose those whom it continues to support, whom it continues to pay for. And there is no such influx of migrants that Germany can just take in and handle everyone. So there will also be an outflow of the population from there. But if we start to reduce funding for the migrants who are already here, where do these migrants go? To the streets. And they start to fight, start to protest, or begin to rob peaceful European citizens. And we have a situation where in 2025 this process begins, in 2026 it intensifies even more, and let's say the average citizen of Europe will not feel safe on the streets. So this is the story, how it is not a war, but for some reason there is a very strong situation of internal tension. How states will behave regarding migration policy, and there will be the outflow of Russian-speaking. Russians will begin to return to Russia, that is, really hundreds of thousands of people will start returning to Russia in 2025. Just look at what will drive them back to Russia. I said it will be inconvenient or difficult to live where people are currently settled. And so the water will flow, each in its own direction. Here we have a division.
Is it more about Russia because the surroundings will become even more unbearable, or because something will become much better inside? What is the situation?
Russia will be, for many, again, absolutely nothing personal, but Russia will be an island of safety, especially central Russia, not the one near the borders, but central Russia. It will be an island of safety for people in the sense that if we are there, we will feel good. That is, it will be a zone of attraction. Not the border areas, not the Gulf of Finland, you understand. Not St. Petersburg and not even Moscow. But further in, yes, that will be the center of energy attraction. And people will start to experience this. Even from the borders, people will move further away, because we are entering the year 2026. A little spoiler ahead, we are entering a war of drones. So imagine 1 million drones are flying at the border and taking out everything that moves. Of course, you will try to stay further away from this border. And around the borders, large states or major regions will unite to create what you know as firewall zones, through which drones cannot pass. It's like if you go to Red Square, you won't have any Wi-Fi, nothing will work there because it's an area with no internet coverage. I don't know how to clarify nearby what this thing is called correctly, So, the essence of the border will be that it's a firewall through which drones cannot pass. Therefore, survival will be possible, and life will be good inside those countries and regions that have united, come together, and are protecting themselves with resources available inside. There will be food, there will be water. Guys, water will become valuable in 2026. People will fight for water. We will have a real conflict between Chinese, Central Asian, and Arab countries. So, I'm expressing it clearly. They will divide the territory because water will be needed. Water will be of great value, even though it seems like there will be plenty of it from the sky. Next year, yes, floods, tsunamis, and just rain. That's our everything. But there will not be enough water. You understand, it's very strange. Climate change is happening, the climate is getting hotter, and many territories will dry up. And this will further intensify population migration. And so, yes, it results in a war for water. Therefore, if you are currently choosing strategic places for yourself where you will live, yes, you need to choose. A larger country with resources, water, food, its own agriculture, an army, and definitely with the technological capability to build firewalls so that 1 million drones don't arrive there. Because factories are currently being built all over the world for the production of drones weighing just a few grams, which carry enough payload to kill a person. This is precisely the wars of the future. The war next year will be like this, just like that. And when they have these drones ready, that's when they will clash with each other. Do you understand? We are now entering a new level of these wars. And the question is, yes, to live well in some country that is like, we are small but we are proud, but it will simply be unsafe there. And maybe we will be fleeing from this country because we won't feel safe there. There will be a lot more interesting things. So, I will continue to tell you what I think. So choose a country that has these basic things that will allow you to live safely, with water, with food. A country that is large, desirable, yes, and that knows how to defend itself well. No European country can really defend itself right now. There are armies, there are people, there is some weaponry, but this is an unclear thing. We are the European Union, and what does that mean? And now there will be a unification. At least 2 blocks will be created within the European Union. This will be an objective necessity. In 2025, you will see that countries will unite in these new alliances to confront the nearby challenges of our future. Do you understand? That's it. Even independent states like this will unite among themselves. And we will have 2 parts in the European Union. Then, of course, in the next stage, we will all live together harmoniously. But for now, since we are not living together harmoniously, everyone needs to argue with everyone. So it's better to focus on ourselves, self-improvement, self-control over our lives. We remove old materials, throw out old shoes from our backpack, and start to unlock our creative potential. And then the material. Look, what else is good? I have already told you. Karma now applies to us, to each individual. If before it applied to everyone, like, 1 million people is statistics, everyone just died. But now it's not. We have the opportunity that karma helps someone. If it sees in you this potential of Aquarian qualities, it works individually. So we won't have such things now, like a nuclear bomb dropping and wiping everyone out. You understand, that won't happen. Why? Otherwise it would have already happened. Otherwise Yellowstone would have already exploded. It's actually convenient. It exploded, that's it. 1 billion people died, that's it. Cool. No. It should be such that here each person has something happening separately. Do you understand? So, my dear ones, the year 2024 has given us many opportunities. We take these opportunities. Whatever things happened, whatever you saw or discovered, we don't fight against it. We take it as a source, transform it into our strength, accumulate new qualities within ourselves and develop those qualities. And we calmly move into the year 2025, when our qualities will be even more supported by divine inspiration. The energies of destiny will make it even easier for us to focus on our own self-realization, on our strengths, on our possibilities. Many will develop superpowers, so welcome to the online academy. Then a person begins to feel like a creative unit. I am a creator, not just someone wishing without will. I am a creator. This is the infinite potential of new energies, incredibly interesting. I am sure everything will be fine with you. Welcome to our academy, and listen, subscribe to the channel, to the Telegram channel Hope, where every important upcoming event will be posted, and there are quite a few we discussed today. Our upcoming stream, which we are gathering, will start right at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And regardless of your level of evolution, spirituality, how you perceive your development or immersion in some esotericism or psychology, we will activate within you the mechanism of inner vision with your superpower, and with the help of this inner mechanism, your higher self, you can understand what is really happening in your life. By applying all the technologies, you will understand the causes of your karma, restructure your vehicle, and you will be heading where you need to go, on the path you have already chosen, rather than where karma drives you or creates additional obstacles. So welcome to the age of Aquarius.